We're staged for another run of nitro-fueled NHRA talk. It's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, with Marty Huff and 10-time NHRA winner Doug Herbert. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your hosts, Doug and Marty.
This is The Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for stopping by our half-hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. The countdown to the championship begins this week at ZMAX Dragway, and today we're talking Pro Stock. Alan Johnson shares his memories as a Pro Stock champion. His career comes to an end. We'll also chat with a legendary Terry Vance in Pro Stock motorcycle. We're in the beams and set to launch another edition of The Straight Line. How you doing? Coast to coast, around the world. This is The Straight Line on Drag Racing at MRN.com. Along with four-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert, I am Marty Huff. Headed to the countdown to the championship, and it all starts right here at ZMAX Dragway tomorrow afternoon. We're looking forward to it. And of course, Doug, when we come down to the fall race here at ZMAX Dragway, that also means the Brakes Gala.
We're looking forward to a great Brakes Gala coming up this Saturday. It's a little bit different. We've normally done it on Thursday night, going into the weekend, getting the guys in early and having a little party. And this year we've kind of changed it up a little bit. Felix Sabatis has hosted the event. He said, Doug, you're not going to raise any money in Concord on Thursday night at Great Wolf Lodge. So you got to come down to my club in Charlotte. So we're going to have the Brakes Gala this year at the big club
at Quail Hollow.
At Quail Hollow Club down in South Charlotte, which is like, they just had the PGA there a few weeks ago, so obviously it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, right.
Looking forward to that. Felix has been really, really generous. He donated a car to us, which is up on the website now. It's a Plymouth Prowler. Like, thing's brand new. I think it's got a couple thousand miles on it. The car looks awesome. I might be bidding on that, and Mimi said she might be bidding, so hopefully not bidding against me. But that car is really cool, so that is really neat. Along with some other incredible items, we've got a car package, which includes a behind-the-scenes tour at the Peterson Museum, a behind-the-scenes tour at the several of the other car museums out there in Southern California, which really, really cool, like private museums, like the Mullen Museum, stuff that you can't get into. And stay at the Fairmont Hotel, and we've got tickets to an Ole Miss football game, like sidelines and Panther. I think Ron Rivera will be at the deal, and usually he'll offer like sideline stuff for Panthers. Wow. I mean, the list just goes on and on. We've got some little Vespa scooters, so pretty much anything. We've got live bidding bidding online on the Brakes website, put on thebrakes.org, for all of our silent auction items. You can bid along online. If anybody that wants to bid on any of the live items, the live auction, big items, all they have to do is go to our website, find out information. They've got to call and get a little bit pre-approved, so then we can, we'll call them on the phone and they can be involved with live bidding. Wow. So it'll be really cool.
Very cool. Now, of course, the Brakes Gala is obviously a fundraiser for your organization, Brakes. Tell us, for those that may not know, what Brakes is and why we're raising money for this organization.
So Brakes is a charity. Brakes is the charity that I founded after my two boys were killed in a car crash back in 2008. And since then, we've trained about 30,000 teenagers all around the country about defensive driving. We are not driver's ed. We are a defensive driving. Like, basically, it's a performance driving experience that all we do is talk about safety. All we do is teach safety. The teenagers that we've taught are proven to be, by a college professor in a 5-year study, 64% less likely to be involved in a car crash. So pretty neat. And
a good example of one of those schools is in Memphis that you did last week with your buddy Clay Milliken. And you guys had a really good time. I saw all the pictures online, and I mean, that looked like a blast.
We had a great time. We trained a couple hundred teenagers there in Memphis. It was just a great weekend, very emotional, obviously, for Clay and his wife, Donna. Sure. But a lot of the students were friends also of Milliken's. A lot of the volunteers that we had out there were friends of Clay and Donna and of their son, Dalton. Was just a super neat weekend. So was really, really happy. Now, Clay and I were going to have that match race. You asked me about this earlier. We were going to have a match race on Saturday night. And the big bracket race, that $50,000 to win bracket race over at Memphis, ended up going till like 4 in the morning one morning. So they said, hey guys, we can't stop the racing to do a show. So Clay and I ended up having a little drift off, basically. We used our skid pad cars and we had a drift off. And it was a lot of fun. We didn't officially crown a drift off champion, but we had a really, really good time and made a lot of safe drivers in the Memphis area.
Yeah, and so if anybody is interested in still trying to get to, because it is on Saturday this year and not on Thursday, so it's a little bit different situation, and there is still time. So if you want to get to the gala, how do they do that? Just
go to the website, put on thebrakes.org. There's information about on there. I think there's still a few tickets left, but it's pretty close to a sold-out event. So if you want to go, you better jump on it right away. I think you're going to be there, right, Marty?
Yep.
So there you go. Marty's going to be there. You're going to see Marty live in person.
We want people to show up. So if never mind me being there, but it'll be a lot of fun, and a lot of the stars of the NHRA will also be there. They always are. And so if you want to,
I talked to Tony Schumacher. I know he's coming. Antron Brown, I talked to. I know he's coming. Alan Johnson, Pro Stock Alan Johnson, coming on the show here in a few minutes. Of course, he's been coming ever since the first gala. Has not missed one. He'll be there. John Force, you never know. He walks in last second. Hard to say. But anyways, there will be a fun time had by all. NASCAR personalities. Felix Sabates will be there. I know Mike Wallace is coming. Who knows who will be there, but trust me, it'll be a lot of fun.
It's always a lot of fun. And so we hope to see you at Quail Hollow this Saturday night if you're headed down here to Charlotte, North Carolina.
And huge thank, obviously, to Felix Sabates for hosting this event at Quail Hollow. Felix is just an exceptional, unbelievable person, and a very supportive of what we're doing. All of his grandchildren have been through the brakes class, and so he sees the value of it. In fact, anyone that goes to his Mercedes dealer in Charlotte, when they go through, they get a flyer, and it says, if you have a child or a grandchild that would like to go to the brakes class, we will pay for it. So that's pretty neat. I asked him, I said, why are you doing that? You helping to sell cars? He goes, sometimes, Doug, you just do the right thing. And that's just the kind of guy he is, so pretty neat.
Looking forward to seeing you at Quail Hollow on Saturday night. When we return, we'll talk Pro Stock with Alan Johnson next.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Bring the whole family out to Talladega Superspeedway for the Kids VIP experience on Sunday, October 15th. Kids 12 and under can choose from a number of great options behind the scenes, like guided garage tours, pre-race photo ops, and more. This is more than a race. This is Talladega.
Take MRN on the go. The MRN app is available for download to your smartphone or tablet from the iTunes App Store or Google Play. Get the latest NASCAR news, schedules, standings, or stream races and MRN programming straight to your mobile device. Take MRN with you. The MRN app.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Danica Patrick to the front of the field at Talladega. They are side by side behind her. Jimmy Johnson.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Huff and Doug Herbert.
Thanks for being with us on The Straight Line this afternoon here on MRN.com as we head into Charlotte Week, round number 2, 2017. When we come here in the spring, it's four-wide racing. It's competition. It's a lot about the show when they're going four-wide. You come back here in the fall, and there's a lot on the line.
Well, this is the race that we started out with in 2008, the first NHRA national event that we had here at ZMAX Dragway, and this is the continuation of that. So I guess this is our 10th event here at ZMAX Dragway. Pretty impressive. for anyone that has not been to the track here in Concord, Charlotte, North Carolina, it is an impressive place. So it definitely needs to be one that's on your bucket list. I would suggest maybe going to the 4-wide thing just because it's a one-time deal. But, I guess the West Coast people have 4-wide now at Las Vegas next year too. So,
yep, that's exactly right.
On the phone, I think we've got Alan Johnson, our buddy Pro Stock, and just made a pretty big announcement. We'll talk to him a little bit about that as the show goes on here.
And driver of the Marathon Petroleum Pro Stock car, Alan Johnson, joins us. First of all, thanks for your time, Alan. We really appreciate it. And congratulations on an announcement that was made back in Indy a couple of weeks ago, stepping down after this 2017 season. What were some of the thought process of going through and making that decision?
Oh, guys, thanks for having me. We really got a couple of extra years from Marathon a couple of years ago when Mopar decided to go in a different direction. But, it was Marathon going to step away and just felt like it was time with the EFI predicament and, the Mopars not being quite as competitive as the GMs and, just a lot of things went into it. But, gosh, we've had 22 great years doing this and being able to share it with your family and see your dad be so successful. It's been a joy.
Alan, with the NHRA championship and numerous wins and championships in NHRA and, of course, a lot of in IHRA as well, is there anything that you didn't miss? It kind of seems to me like you haven't missed a whole lot along the way. Like there's not one thing you'd say, well, I sure wish I'd have done that. I'm not sure if you ever missed anything.
Well, we've had a great career. My dad's career spans back to the 60s.
Yeah.
So he won 2 Super Stock World Championships in IHRA and we sit out a little while and then to give him the opportunity to do this, I knew he'd always be one of the best engine guys out there given the opportunity, and he sure hadn't missed that mark. So, and being able to do this with your family has just been a complete blessing.
Obviously, you'd like to finish the season out strong. And I was reading a press release that you were talking about the 4-wides. We were just talking about the 4-wides when we were coming in. And you said back in the spring, your car wasn't worth a dang. It's now picked up a lot of performance since the spring. And considering everything, you probably got a good shot at these last 6 races to come out with a win somewhere down along the line.
Yeah, we're right there. I'd like to have about 2 more hundreds. But, second round at Indy, we should have beat Tanner, and he's been consistently the fastest car lately. And we lost by 0.2 of a second. And actually the driver hit the limiter in second gear, or we would have beat him. So, we're right there. We've got the Dodges, even with the limitation of the rev limiter deal. We've got them really close, but man, if I could pick up just another 100th, we'd have a good chance to win this championship.
Can your dad put any more hours, or I'm guessing he probably works about as late as he works about as much as you do, and there's not much extra he can do. He's already doing everything.
Well, we've worked with 2 or 3 different manifolds a lot since Indy, and we can't find anything else. We've got all we've got, and without some sort of reconfiguration of the cylinder head, I just think we've got all we can get out of these Hemis. But, we're still digging, and truck just loaded up and ready to go over to Charlotte, and we'll start out just like we ended at Indy, and hopefully, we qualify up in the top half for first round, and maybe have a chance to go some rounds over there.
Hey, Alan, you and I have talked about this before, but you going to the races with your dad and mom and your wife Pam, and it's really it's kind of a family thing. What are you going to do to keep your family together? You're going to have picnics every weekend, or that's a lot of time that you get to spend with your family.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a little different. We've done it for so long. It's going to be a life-changing experience. It really is. But we're thinking about maybe running a little bit of sportsman stuff we may even work with Mopar and maybe try to run that factory stock deal, at challenge deal a little bit. I don't know, just a little something, but not a lot. Just locally and within a couple of states maybe.
Yeah.
But something to keep Dad, a little something to do, and we might keep a couple of the employees working. We've got some engine customers, and we're still going to be able to do something. But just like you said, being with your family for 3 or 4 days every weekend, 8 weekends a year, and then not go to all of a sudden you might see them 1 day a week or two. That's going to be really different. But we just have to flow with it.
Real quick, back at Indy, the NHRA implemented this burnout contest, which has really got fans' attention. What is your take on this?
Well, it's cool, and that's the way we burn tires in when we're testing, but we have a tire scuffing motor in. And, Greg had a good point. It's hard to do it. I did one semi-deal because we did have on a set of tires that only had 3 runs on it, so we needed to do a little bit of a burnout anyway, so I stretched it out a little, but, he's right. It gets the motor a little hotter, it gets the tires a little hotter, the car don't react the same, and it's just something that's hard to do and race. But, a couple of people had some big fun with it, and that's cool. Fans loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fan favorite. And, Alan, one other thing I want to talk about is we're looking forward to a great night this coming Saturday up, and one person that's been there for every one of our Breaks Galas is you, and the contributions that you've made to help me and also for the charity has just been incredible. I'm so lucky and blessed to have your friendship for these past umpteen years, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, I think the same about you, and what you've accomplished with this charity has been amazing, and each year it grows, and it's for a good reason. It's because it's saving lives, and I commend you for that, and everything you went through. Man, it's just a blessing to be a part of it.
Well, we're going to have to get together and go to the mountains again one of these days and have a little, maybe when we can go up there and play golf and have a little extra time to hang out than we did that last time when we went up there.
Yeah, we concentrated on drinking wine that night, I think.
Oh, is that what we did?
Yeah. Imagine that.
I even forgot. Oh.
Imagine that.
Well, we did. There was no shortage of fun.
I won't say how much, but bottle with an S.
Plural. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Alan Johnson announcing his retirement, but just a great friend of the sport of drag racing and NHRA. We appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you this weekend. And, Alan, good luck the rest of this year. I hope you and your dad could go out there and pull off another championship. That would be my wish.
Yeah, that would be great, and we're going to be digging, I promise you that.
Alan Johnson, driver of the Marathon Petroleum Pro Stock car, joining us on the Straight Line. And when we return, we'll talk Pro Stock motorcycles with Terry Vance.
O'Reilly.
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings, plus earn double points on over 250 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike Bagley. Join me every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. This one-hour interactive show takes you beyond the typical storylines in NASCAR with the stars of the sport.
The celebration's been fun. I mean, afterwards, I guess I didn't leave the track until by 1:30, so I caught it with my crew in South Beach.
NASCAR Live also gives you in-depth analysis with MRN's top personalities.
Because for me, the decisive moment of this championship was when...
Check it out. NASCAR Live this Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, once again, here's Doug and Marty.
Thanks to Alan Johnson for joining us on The Straight Line this afternoon. And back in the day, an engine builder by the name of Byron Hines got together with one of the top drag motorcycle racers in his day, a guy by the name of Terry Vance. And you probably recognize the name Vance and Hines as one of the biggest aftermarket motorcycle parts companies in the world. And right now, that legacy continues in the Vance and Hines brand on the Harley Davidsons that we see running up and down the track at national events. And joining us right now on the telephone line is one of the legendary drag racers of all time. Terry Vance joins us. Terry, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all. It's a pleasure to be on.
Hey, Terry. Man,
hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I got to tell you, and I think I might have told you this before, the first time I remember seeing Terry Vance, I was a young kid. I mean, I know you couldn't have been much older than me, but I remember hanging on the fence at Orange County International Raceway and watching you run that Top Fuel bike. And you know what? Most people haven't even seen Top Fuel bikes, but I was blown away.
Yeah,
you wish you could hop back on one of those?
Pretty special time, Doug. We were just kids, so I didn't have a lot of brains then, so that's why I was doing something silly like that. But it was like a 1200cc Suzuki supercharged on nitro, and we made a couple runs where it actually made so much power it threw the crankshaft out the bottom of the motor and underneath the tire. So it was a handful a lot of times, but we had a lot of fun. We were actually the first guys to go 200 miles an hour, and we did it on that bike, the bike you saw at Orange County.
Wow, that is something.
Yeah, that was something for sure. Because back in the day, they weighed a lot and they were really hard to ride, and they were up off the ground pretty high. It was pretty unsophisticated at the time, so it made it a lot more challenging to ride.
Well, that takes a real driver. That would be actually something you could settle. And we have about 50-50 motorcycle guys. Some of them say they're riders, and some of them say they're drivers. I think they're probably drivers, but what does Terry Vance say?
I know that's a good question. When you look at guys like Valentino Rossi or the guys that ride flat track motorcycles, those guys are more riders. Those guys are riders. A guy like Eddie Krawick, Andrew Hines, those guys are more like drivers. So you got to be real technical on a pro stock bike. And I don't know. I guess you could argue about that forever, but I know for sure with the drag racing thing, Doug, it's for you. I don't know about you, but for me, I've always felt like you got to have the power, and that's the most important thing. That's why it was always nice to have a guy like Byron around, because he made the power, and then even if you made a couple mistakes, you could still get by with a win,
Speaking of Byron, and you and Byron have obviously been together for a long time, and the Vance and Hines name is just, that's like a icon motorcycle in the motorcycle brands. How did you guys get together and get that whole thing kind of started?
Well, you remember Lion's Drag Strip, Doug, is out in Long Beach, California, and we met out there as kids just bracket racing, and I ended up going to work for a guy named Russ Collins, who was a drag race guy, and Byron was actually working there, so our friendship just kind of started from there, and then that was back in, I think, 1972, and then Byron and I started Vance and Hines in 1979.
Wow. And the rest,
so
as they say, is a little bit of history.
Right, Doug. I mean, there's very, very few people that are in business with each other for 40-plus years and then, are still even talking to each other. But I consider Byron my best friend on the planet. I love the guy, and he's the best guy ever. And I've been so fortunate to be, around him and associated with him,
Wow. And Vance and Hines does so many other things besides what you guys started in drag racing. I mean, it's AMA, it's all over the board with building Suzukis and building Harleys and some of these different things. Tell us about some of the different things that Vance and Hines is involved with and what your day-to-day involvement is.
Well, for starters, in the beginning, Byron and I by ourselves, and we just kind of started, growing the business and selling performance products. We were building a lot of motors for race bike guys and guys that wanted to go pro stock racing, or top fuel racing. So that's kind of how we got our roots going. And so they call that kind of the metric business, Suzuki's, Kawasaki's, things like that. And then we had probably maybe like about 100 employees, I would think, at the end of maybe like 84 or 85. And then we started looking at the Harley-Davidson market and how big it was. And we had to be in it because if we wanted to grow our business, it was the only direction we could go. So in 1994, we started looking at the Harley-Davidson market. hired a group of engineers to start working on development and project management, and put together a program to sell some products through one of the distributors, which was called Drag Specialties in the United States. They're owned by Parts Unlimited, and they became our exclusive supplier of product, and we just kind of took off. And I mean, Doug, it just like it went crazy, because we could not make stuff fast enough, and there weren't a lot of companies in the market at the time that were really making quality products. So we were trying to make really high-tech stuff with heat shields and stuff, and just not just a slap-together thing, but an engineered exhaust system that made more power, had great sound, and was engineered properly. So we went from about 78, 79 employees to, I think our peak was somewhere around 700. So wow. It really went crazy. And I mean, we got robots and lasers and 3D printers and 50 people in the engineering department. And I mean, it kind of went crazy. And then in 2002, I sold the business to a company called Motorsports Aftermarket Group. And the guy's name that headed that up was Arnie Ackerman. And a really bright guy and very smart about the finance side of the world, and also an enthusiast of motorcycles. So we actually took a large portion of my sale proceeds and kept it in the business, and we acquired 8 other businesses, and then we grew those, and then we ended up selling to a company called Leonard Green, who's one of the larger private equity houses on the West Coast. They own Petco and Rite Aid and a bunch of big pharmaceutical guys. So we were really fortunate then, because then we had the capital and the knowledge to really lay out a really good business plan. And these guys, did a great job. It gave us everything we needed to grow the business. And, I mean, we just kind of took off. So fortunately for me, I kind of stepped away from the day-to-day operations about 5 years ago, and now I just am involved in the racing and product development. And I really, really enjoy it, Doug, because, the last thing I want to worry about now is a P&L and pay and employees issues and stuff. So it's really a nice time for me because I get to just concentrate on racing. And I don't know if you know, Doug, but year and a half ago, we started working real closely with Harley Davidson to do their flat track motorcycle racing, and they've kind of retired the old XR 750, which was the staple bike for flat track racing, and now we're developing a new platform. It's called the XG, and we're working really hard to get that platform established and going for the flat track racers in the world. So it's been a real exciting project. We've been working on it a lot. So we've been really, really busy. So sorry to bore you, but that's kind of our little story for the last few years.
I'm out of breath. I knew some of that, but I didn't know all that. That is cool. And I know you spend a lot of your time now on weekends going to these various different racetracks around the country, building that new Harley-Davidson program up. You and I have talked about that a little bit, too.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Cool.
And it's really exciting, Doug, because it's a lot of young people, and they're just great racers and riders. And we were in Williams Grove, Pennsylvania, just over the weekend, and, I mean, they had a capacity crowd. They couldn't let anybody else in the place. It was so packed. And everywhere we go, we're getting big crowds like that, and it's really exciting. I've got 3 riders, Kenny Coolbeth, Jake Johnson, and Brandon Robinson, and we're just getting the program up and running. We've been struggling a little bit, but we're just starting to get some podium finishes and some 4th and 5ths, and I'm real excited by what's happening. So I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years. It's a real exciting time.
Wow, and one thing I got to say is I can't tell you how much I appreciate your help and involvement with brakes. Your daughter came and brought her son, and then your sons have been, and then you rented the whole bus that time and brought the whole baseball team out to Pomona, and I just can't tell you how much your friendship and help for the charity has meant to me as well, Terry. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate that, Doug. But what you're doing is more important than just about anything else. I mean, it's like you got young guys, young people, young individuals that are driving cars, and we both know how serious that can become. So they need every opportunity to understand that before they actually spend a lot of time behind the wheel. And I would encourage anyone that has a teenage son or daughter to put them in the brakes program, because my boys have been 3 times and they loved it every time. It was just great. But I tell you, they have a deeper respect for, a 2,000 or 3,000 pound vehicle moving down the street. So it's a really good thing, Doug, that you're doing. And I think it's affecting and will affect thousands and thousands of lives over the course of the years. So I really appreciate you doing that. And anything I can do for you going forward with that, I want to help you out.
Terry, thanks so much for your time and your knowledge on Pro Stock Motorcycle and how we and come here today to 2017, heading into the countdown, and everything that means to NHRA and what we're doing here on the Straight Line. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Well, no problem at all. I just hope Eddie and Andy are there at the finish at Pomona, and that's what we're hoping for.
I'm sure they will. Thanks, Terry Vance. All-time great guy in my book for pro stock motorcycle racing and NHRA in general. Just super guy.
And
thanks, Doug.
Thanks for being here on the Straight Line this week, and we'll talk after next week and what happened at ZMAX Dragway. So for everybody involved, we'll talk to you next week on the Straight Line.
You've been listening to the Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. The Straight Line is the show for drag racing fans and was brought to you by Hercules Tires. Tune in again next Thursday on MRN.com and the MRN app. The Straight Line is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. The Straight Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.